so let's continue on. Madoff4 says, Japanese RPG or Western RPG? Well, the major difference between... there's actually really... okay, to the best of my knowledge, there's only one major difference between a Japanese RPG and a Western RPG. And the difference is random battles. And... I do think we should pull away from random battles, but there should be respawns. I don't really think an RPG can be considered a true full RPG unless it has respawns, because respawns give the option of repeating an area, getting more powerful, getting more gear, and being more prepared to head into the next area. And I think that the next area should be just challenging enough to kind of give you the incentive to kill off a few respawns and then go into that area. And you'll be like, okay, now I think I'm pretty much ready for this area. Now I can go to this area. And a lot of really great RPGs go with that. They make it so that you have to struggle a little bit. Every time you need to get a little bit more powerful. Now, Japanese RPGs end up just creating so much need for... basically killing mobs over and over and over and over again, which is grinding. It's grinding. It once again becomes an achievement system. It becomes one of those things where you're just like, yeah, I might have played this game all day, but I killed 10,000 minotaurs, and now I can make the ultra minotaur axe, and now I can handle that dungeon. It's just like, oh, but you played it all day just to get one item. It's just, oh. Okay, so Liquid Solace 9000 says, do you ever play tabletop games such as Dungeons & Dragons or Warhammer 40k? I have played a close variant of Dungeons & Dragons. I played it, well, I think I played it 2 times. I went there twice. By the end of the second time, I realized it was just a basic... basically, it was just a game all about who's more knowledgeable, who knows more about what each of the creatures do, and etc., etc., and also knowledgeable about the Game Master. If you know how the Game Master thinks, you have a major advantage. And so it just became a knowledge fest. It's like, just imagine if there was a Star Trek and you were coming in a Star Trek tabletop game, and you went there as a person that watched a little bit of Star Trek, was pretty new to the whole Star Trek thing, just kind of have seen it, and everybody there was like a master, knew every detail about Star Trek. It would be ridiculous to try that out. You would have no idea what you were doing, and everyone would be like, I'm going to use my flux capacitor. I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. It's just, and yes, that's Back to the Future thing. I think that's where that's from. Tech Talk and all that. So it just, no. I mean, if you really like showing off knowledge on some sort of field, then I think tabletop games are for you. But since there's no aspect of skill, and there's kind of actually not so much aspect of luck, they do the rolling of the dice every once in a while, but it doesn't make a big difference, because usually the GM gets what the GM wants. I mean, of course, better GMs or worse GMs, but when you play it, you're not using any skill. There's no, there's no skill involved. There's no, I won because I am better at doing something rapidly or doing something accurately. I really enjoy games that have accuracy or timing based on, as an important thing. Apocolipsys says, how does an individual write a review on something, for example a video game, to the most thorough and fair extent. In other words, how would you write a review of a video game to the best of your ability? Or rather, how would you teach someone else to write a video review? What would be the process? Okay, that's 4 different questions. I'm going to randomly pick and answer only one of them. No, just kidding. Okay, so let me just say, one thing I think is a really poor way of doing a rating, usually, is to give a number value. It's because the thing is, number values work. They are accurate, but they're accurate to you. Excuse me. Every gamer plays games that are aligned with their preferences. Now, I think that there's certain games out there that ride on the backs of people's misguided preferences. Let's just put it that way. But there are certain games where one person will really like one game and another person has very valid reasons why they don't, but they like a different game. That happens half as often. I mean, that happens for legitimate reasons half as often as it happens. So it is a real thing. Hopefully that made some sense. But basically, how to write a video review is compare it to other games. That is really the best way, because your goal is to tell them whether or not they'll like it. Now, you can't just say, you will like this game because I did. That's not how it works. The best way, no, officially, you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to tell them what they like, what they're going to do, and how high they jump, etc. That's what an official review is. If you have any review website or work for any place that does a review for anything, you got to tell your viewers how high. And that is a really pathetic way to do it, but it's the way that people want. And it's a way that I'm not willing to give reviews. So the way I give reviews is by giving you things to compare to, like this game has elements from here. It's got a couple. You can tell the flaws and the benefits. I especially enjoyed this part. I didn't like that part so much. But don't go to the end and say I would recommend you buy it, or I give this 3.5 cows out of 7. I'm like, what? Cow isn't even related to the game. It's just there's a number of people that go by totally ambiguous rating systems. So you might say, "Oh, that's from blah blah blah." It's actually from a number of different people. So yeah, I just compare it to things and give your pros, cons, and comparisons, and that's the best way to give a review, so people can tell, well, that con is not something I generally mind, and that pro is something that I seek out frequently. And I love that game that you compare it to. So there you go.